Welcome to Crosslight Healing Hope, a channel where truth is deeply exposed, and light exposes what has long been hidden in the dark. In today's video, we're going to dive into something so profound, so vast, that it's shaped every moment of your life without you even realizing it. Did you know that before you were born, a fierce battle was fought in heaven? It was a battle not just for power, but for the nature of faith, trust, and the soul of humanity. And here's the shocking truth: this battle not only shaped heaven, but also has profound, unseen impacts on our lives today. Now the question remains, why haven't you heard about this before? Why has this colossal battle been hidden from your eyes? What is the real story behind this cosmic conflict? As we dive into this video, prepare to be confronted with truths that will change the way you perceive everything around you. The war isn't over. It's still going on today, in ways you can't even imagine. Stay tuned and watch till the end. This video contains important information that will reshape your understanding of the world. Leave your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe so you don't miss the truth we are about to reveal. The war in heaven did not end when Lucifer was cast down to earth. It continued in an unlikely reality, the dream world. When people fall asleep, they not only enter a fantasy space created by their minds, but sometimes they are drawn into another dimension, where the war between angels and demons is still going on. Are strange dreams where people find themselves fighting against dark entities or being warned by angels about something really just figments of the imagination, or are they real experiences in a parallel world? Lucifer never gave up his fight. If he couldn't defeat God in heaven, he would manipulate humanity in a more subtle way, through the mind. Dreams are the gateway for the human soul to access other dimensions. There have been countless cases of people experiencing extremely vivid dreams where they felt pain, fear, and even woke up with injuries that no one could explain. Could those mysterious scratches and bruises be the remains of battles they fought in their sleep? Theologians and spiritualists believe that the dream world is not just a psychological phenomenon, but a real battlefield. God repeatedly used dreams to send messages in the Bible, from warnings to Pharaoh to Joseph's dreams about his destiny. If God can use dreams to communicate with people, could Satan do the same? Could persistent nightmares, strange dreams that we can't explain, be signs that we are being targeted? Some people claim to have encountered angels in their dreams, brilliant beings who appear to rescue them from the darkness that surrounds them. Others tell of terrifying encounters with malevolent beings who seek to destroy their souls. Those who have experienced sleep paralysis feel an invisible force gripping them, rendering them unable to move or scream. Scientists may call it sleep paralysis, but what if it is actually a psychic attack from the unseen world? Some of the scariest stories are about people who have prophetic dreams. They foresee disasters, major events, even their own or others' deaths. This raises the question, are dreams a place where people can see the future? And if so, who is revealing these things to them? An angel warning them or an evil force spreading fear? People who have practiced spiritual practices, meditated, or communicated with the unseen world have reported that the deeper they delve into these experiences, the more vivid and strange their dreams become. Some people wake up with clear memories of places they have never been, conversations they have never had, but they are terrifyingly real. Is this evidence that the human soul can actually move between realities while sleeping? And if so, is Lucifer using this to continue his war against humanity? Science may explain dreams through brain waves and psychological mechanisms, but there is no denying that there are experiences that go beyond human understanding. If dreams are just brain activity, why can some dreams completely change a person's life? Why can some dreams reveal secrets that no one knows? And more importantly, if dreams are part of a spiritual battle, what can people do to protect themselves? Perhaps the war in heaven never really ended. It just moved to a new front, one that humans don't even know they're a part of. And the next time you drift off to sleep, remember that you might not just be dreaming. You might be fighting. And as the war spread, young warriors emerged. The children of the light are not myths, nor are they coincidences, nor are they ordinary individuals with a modicum of psychic ability. They are a generation born with a mission, to fight against darkness in humanity's darkest hour. The signs have appeared. Children are able to see invisible beings, have premonitions of the future, receive messages from the heavens, and sometimes, bear special, inexplicable marks. This is not just a story about extraordinary children, but about a battle between light and darkness, where they are the ultimate warriors. Have you ever wondered why more and more children are showing up with strong intuition, the ability to sense things that adults can't? They may talk about angels they've seen, or warn their parents about something that's about to happen. Some even carry mysterious scars, memories that don't belong in this world. These children aren't born by accident, they were born to bring light to the darkest places, but because of that, they're targets of the forces of darkness. There are stories that make people shudder. A 5-year-old boy can recite Bible passages that no one has ever taught him. A 3-year-old girl tells her parents that a man dressed in white stands by her bed at night, protecting her from the darkness that lurks in the room. A 14-year-old boy wakes up with bruises on his body after a dream in which he fights a demon. These are just a few examples of thousands of strange cases that are happening around the world. These children have one thing in common: they don't fear the dark the way others do. They understand that there is a war going on, and they have a role to play. Some call them children of the light, a chosen generation to stand up against the invisible forces that control the world. But not all children realize their power right away. Many feel lost, ostracized because of their differences. They are labeled as strange, dreamers, or worse, mentally ill. The darkness does not want them to awaken, because this generation is a real threat. So the forces of evil do everything they can to extinguish the light within them, through doubt, through fear, and even by luring them away from their true nature. Perhaps you have met such a child without realizing it. A child whose eyes seem to see into your soul. A child who speaks of things he or she cannot know by common sense. A child whose mere presence can soothe pain. If you have met such a person, you have probably witnessed one of the warriors of the light. The question is, if these children do exist, what awaits them in the future? How will they fight? And can they stand against the forces that have manipulated the world since the beginning? One thing is certain: the war is not over, and this generation is the key to changing it all. But what if the key to changing everything lies behind a locked gate, a gate that leads to heaven? Heaven, once considered a promised land, now seems to be a distant, unreachable place. After a mysterious war that few truly understand, an invisible gate has been closed. But the most important question remains unanswered: who closed it? And why? Is heaven really trying to keep people out, or is there a greater truth hidden? In many cultures and religions, the connection between humans and heaven was once sacred. Prophets received visions, people of deep faith felt the presence of God, and pure souls were able to reach the heavenly realms. But it seems that over time, these doors have been closing. Are humans drifting further and further away from the truth, or is there some force manipulating us so that we cannot access heaven? Near-death experiences from thousands of people around the world have sparked endless debate. Some say they saw a bright light, angels welcoming them, and then, they were pushed back, as if heaven would not let them in. Why are some people allowed through, while others are not? Is there some standard we don't know about? Or has heaven truly been locked away, leaving only faint glimmers of its light on earth? In ancient texts, there are hints of a time when humans could still travel between heaven and earth. Before the fall, Adam and Eve lived in a world where connection with God was completely natural. But after sinning, they were banished from the Garden of Eden, just as humans today feel cut off from the heavenly realm. Was the closure of heaven just part of a larger plan? A test? Or a sign of the end times? Another, more shocking theory: it's not that heaven has locked its gates, but that some force has done this to keep humanity in the dark. Imagine that there is a barrier built, not to protect heaven from humans, but to trap our souls in a material world where we are increasingly losing our ability to perceive the truth. If this is true, who is behind it? And why? Some scholars of ancient texts have pointed out that in the stories of fallen angels, there were forces that sought to change the course of human history. They not only rebelled, but also sought to break the bond between man and God. Did they succeed so much that the gates of heaven were closed to prevent the incursion of darkness? And if so, what does that mean for us, those who seek light in this chaotic world? There are stories of people who claim to have seen the gates of heaven, a shimmering portal in midair, golden steps, or a mysterious light. But they cannot enter. Some sense an invisible force blocking them, while others hear a voice warning them that it is not yet time. Not yet, but when will it be? And what must we do to make the gates open again? If humanity is being cut off from heaven, it means we are living through an unprecedented challenge. A challenge to find our way back, to restore the connection that was lost. Or worse, have we gone so far that there is no turning back? So is this disconnection part of a larger plan where darkness is slowly taking over? Lucifer wanted more than power, he wanted his own kingdom, a place where he could rule without the constraints of heaven. But how could an angel challenge the Almighty? The answer lay in his elaborate strategy. Lucifer did not engage in direct combat. He sowed doubt, shook faith, and stirred ambition in his fellow angels. He envisioned a new vision, a kingdom where they could be their own masters, where absolute obedience was no longer required. And a third of the angels obeyed him. But this rebellion was not a past event. Its consequences extend to the present day, reaching into every corner of the human world. Lucifer did not simply fail and be cast into the abyss. He turned failure into opportunity. When he could not defeat heaven, he turned to humans, God's most beloved creatures. Instead of confronting them head-on, he chose to manipulate them covertly. He understood that true power lies not in brute force, but in the control of the mind. And so he sowed something more dangerous than a sword, a lie. The first lie spoken in the Garden of Eden, "You shall not surely die." A simple sentence, but enough to overthrow all of humanity. From there, he continued his work, ensnaring, inciting, blinding people to the truth. But he did not act alone. He had an army. The fallen angels did not lose their power, but turned them into tools to manipulate the world. They infiltrated every sphere, politics, economics, art, religion, to carry out Lucifer's plan. Have you ever wondered why the world is drifting away from faith, why right becomes wrong, and wrong is glorified? It is no accident. It is part of the strategy. What is even more terrifying, Lucifer does not only target humans. He wants to change their very nature. By instilling ambition, he made people believe that they could become gods, that they did not need God. And this was a repetition of the first rebellion, but this time, not in heaven, but in the minds of individual people. So, it was that ambition that led to an inevitable conflict. The battle in the heavens was unlike any other, a cosmic conflict, fought not with swords or shields, but with the very essence of willpower, belief, and divine power. Lucifer, once the most beautiful and powerful archangel, harbored a dangerous ambition that would shake the very foundation of existence. His desire was not just for power, but to dethrone the Creator himself, to rise to a level equal with the one who had given him his place in the heavens. It was this insatiable thirst for dominance that led him to defy the Creator, to betray everything he had once stood for. Lucifer, with his charisma and cunning, began to influence the other angels. He whispered doubt into their hearts, sowing seeds of rebellion with each passing moment. He promised them freedom, equality, and power, things they had never dreamed of before. The idea of challenging the Creator was both alluring and dangerous. Lucifer wasn't just leading a rebellion, he was leading a revolution. A revolution against the very fabric of divine order, a challenge to the natural hierarchy of the universe. But what made Lucifer's rebellion so dangerous wasn't just the number of angels he swayed, it was his strategic mind. He didn't charge headfirst into battle. No, Lucifer played a longer game, one that stretched the limits of patience and manipulation. He knew that if he were to stand any chance against the Creator, he needed more than power, he needed to disrupt the very foundation of what the Creator had built. By turning the angels against one another, sowing seeds of doubt, he was creating a divide in the heavenly host. And once that divide was large enough, the battle would be inevitable. As Lucifer gained followers, the conflict grew, and soon, it wasn't just a few angels who were questioning the divine order. It was an army, a growing, powerful force determined to overthrow the throne of God. But against Lucifer's cunning, there stood Michael, the archangel of light. Michael wasn't just an angel, he was the protector of divine law, the enforcer of order in the heavens. His strength came not from power alone, but from his unwavering faith in the Creator. When the battle finally broke out, it was not a simple clash. It was a war of wills. Lucifer and his followers were fierce, driven by their belief that the Creator's laws were restrictive, that their potential could only be realized through rebellion. Michael, on the other hand, fought not out of desire for power, but out of an unshakable loyalty to the Creator, a belief that the divine order was not something to be disrupted, but something to be upheld. The battle that ensued was catastrophic. It wasn't just the clash of swords or the flight of angels above the heavens. It was a conflict that reached deep into the very fabric of creation itself. The forces of good and evil collided with such force that the heavens themselves trembled. Stars flared brighter, the fabric of time and space seemed to stretch, and the very essence of reality was at risk of unraveling. The most intense moment of the battle came when Lucifer and Michael faced each other in single combat. The two were not just fighting for supremacy, they were fighting for the soul of creation itself. Lucifer, with his boundless ambition and pride, versus Michael, whose strength lay in his devotion to the Creator. Their battle was more than a physical fight, it was a clash of ideologies, of beliefs about freedom, order, and the nature of the universe. In the end, Michael emerged victorious, but the cost was immense. Lucifer, with his army, was cast down from the heavens, thrown into the depths of the abyss. His rebellion was over, but the damage was done. The heavenly host had been forever divided, and the scars of the battle remained, not just in the heavens, but in the very structure of the universe. Lucifer's fall was not the end of his influence, however. The darkness he had unleashed in the heavens began to seep into the world below. His rebellion was not just an event in the celestial realm, it had repercussions throughout all of creation. Even though Lucifer was cast out, his presence lingered in the hearts of mankind. His pride, ambition, and thirst for power became the seeds of temptation that would plague humanity for generations. The war that was fought in heaven became a war fought on earth, one that continues to this day. Lucifer may have lost the battle in the heavens, but his rebellion lived on in the choices humanity faced. The true cost of this battle wasn't just the celestial conflict, it was the war that began in the hearts of every person who was ever born. The legacy of Lucifer's rebellion is not just a story of angels, it's a story that lives on in every temptation, every moment of pride, and every moment when mankind chooses ambition over humility. The battle between light and darkness didn't end when Lucifer fell. It simply moved to a new battlefield, the hearts and minds of those who would inherit the universe he sought to destroy. Lucifer's defeat didn't mark the end of his influence, and it didn't mark the end of the war. The battle for the soul of creation was far from over. In fact, it's still being fought today. Will humanity choose the path of light, or will they fall prey to the same pride and ambition that led Lucifer to his downfall? The war is not over, it is being fought every day, in the choices we make and the paths we take. The question remains, will we follow Michael and stand for divine order, or will we fall like Lucifer, driven by the same desire for power and control? The battle is ours to fight. So, even though Lucifer was banished to earth, the antagonism did not stop there. When Lucifer was cast down to earth, it did not mean that he was defeated. On the contrary, it was just the beginning of a meticulous and sophisticated plan of revenge. Satan, no longer having divine power, began to use the power of manipulation. He no longer needed to act boldly. He used clever strategies to slowly infiltrate every corner of humanity, and that infiltration has had a profound impact on our history and present. From the very beginning, Satan has been sowing doubt and ambition in the minds of men. Since he distracted Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, Satan's strategy has not changed much. He convinces men that they can be their own masters, even rise to the level of their creator. He creates doubts, causing men to distance themselves from divine authority, believing that they can determine their own fate without God's intervention. Over the centuries, Satan has influenced not only individuals but also great powers, including empires, nations, and cultural systems. He has skillfully manipulated leaders, leading them to succumb to the temptations of power, which have led to wars, injustice, and suffering. Religious wars, political conflicts, and widespread famines have all been his doing, dragging humanity into whirlwinds of ambition and destruction. However, Satan does not only control the world through wars and political power. His manipulation is also present in other aspects of society, economics, art, and even religion. He has reduced people's belief in spiritual values, replacing them with material values, making people only care about fame and money. Excessive consumption and self-interest have become the elements that Satan uses to lead society into the quagmire of disorientation. Today, Satan has used technology and communication to manipulate global thinking. The rise of social media, mass media, and digital media has created opportunities for Satan to spread misinformation, which has easily divided people. The world is becoming increasingly fragmented, with each person living in their own information bubble, vulnerable to unseen forces. Satan has skillfully used these factors to divide, turning unity into constant confrontation between groups of people. The recent global crises, from financial meltdowns to political instability, are not accidental. They are the result of a long-term strategy that Satan has employed over centuries. These upheavals are not just economic or political challenges, they are undercurrents that test people's faith and belief. Satan has sought not only to divide humanity but also to weaken people's relationship with God, making them believe that they do not need God's intervention to live their lives. From building a society where ambition and selfishness are the dominant values, to causing division through political and social conflicts, Satan has relentlessly manipulated humanity. His ultimate goal is to cause people to distance themselves from God, to separate themselves from salvation, and to turn to material, temporary values. He wants people to forget the existence of God, to believe that they can create their own world without the guidance of the Creator. But perhaps most alarmingly, this strategy is continuing right now. The further people move away from faith and connection with God, the more he is able to dominate their minds, making them believe that they do not need God to survive. While our world is consumed by ambition and division, Satan continues to carry out his plan, one step at a time, leading the world toward its ultimate destruction. As humanity faces these challenges, it is important to realize that these events are not random. Every manipulation, every division is part of Satan's plan, and only by being acutely aware of these influences can we protect ourselves from the infiltration of the dark forces. This manipulation is not a recent phenomenon, rather, it has been unfolding for centuries. The idea that humanity has been deceived for centuries is not a new concept. It's an unsettling thought that, for a long time, many of the world's greatest truths have been obscured, hidden in plain sight, and deliberately buried under layers of misdirection and falsehoods. We have been conditioned to accept what is presented to us without questioning its origin, truth, or the forces behind it. But what if the events of the heavenly war, once thought to be mere myths, were in fact actual events? Events that are chronicled in ancient texts like the Bible and the Book of Enoch. Many dismiss these writings as fictional or symbolic, yet what if the answers to the mysteries of the universe, the ones we have been seeking for millennia, are embedded in these ancient records? The narratives of fallen angels, of a battle in heaven, and of the ultimate betrayal are not merely allegories, they are recorded history. But why is it that so few are aware of these truths? Why has this knowledge been suppressed for so long? Could these hidden secrets hold the key to awakening humanity from its current state of manipulation and darkness? The Bible, for example, is filled with references to the celestial rebellion, Lucifer's fall, and the ongoing battle between good and evil. Yet, how many of us truly understand the depths of these accounts? How many recognize the spiritual war still being fought around us? The clues are right there in the ancient texts, but they have been buried beneath centuries of misinterpretation, deliberate distortion, and religious control. These secrets are not lost, they have been intentionally hidden. And it's high time we start to question why. The Book of Enoch, another ancient manuscript that was excluded from the canon of most holy texts, provides an even deeper dive into these mysteries. It offers a more detailed account of the rebellion of the Watchers. Fallen angels who descended to earth, corrupted humanity, and taught forbidden knowledge. This is not just a story of ancient myths, it's a chronicle of events that were so monumental that they were deliberately erased or suppressed by religious authorities throughout history. What were they afraid we would discover if we had full access to these teachings? What if the truth about our creation, our purpose, and the eternal battle between light and darkness is right there, waiting to be uncovered? For centuries, the elites have used religious institutions to keep the masses ignorant, distracted, and disempowered. The manipulation of truth, the distortion of ancient scriptures, and the selective interpretation of religious texts have all been tools used to control humanity. The war between light and darkness is not something of the past, it's happening in our lives today. The battle is raging in the choices we make, in the systems of control that govern us, and in the very nature of our existence. It's time we took a deeper look at the world around us. The signs are everywhere. The increasing moral decay, the rise of false ideologies, and the decline of faith are not just random occurrences, they are part of a larger, more sinister plan. The Bible speaks of the end times, the final battle between good and evil, and the return of Christ to defeat the forces of darkness once and for all. But how do we know when the signs are truly upon us? Are we already living in the final moments before the curtain falls on this cosmic battle? There are many indications, both spiritual and worldly, that we may be approaching this climactic moment in history. From wars, political unrest, and natural disasters to the rise of a global system of control, the world seems to be inching closer to a crisis point. The rise of technology, surveillance, and artificial intelligence also plays into this narrative. Perhaps humanity is being steered toward a new form of enslavement, one that is more subtle and insidious than ever before. What if this technological advance is actually part of Satan's strategy to control minds, manipulate behavior, and erase free will? The Bible also warns of a great deception in the last days, a powerful force that will deceive even the elect. This deception will be so pervasive that it will be nearly impossible to distinguish truth from lies. It is a deception that will come not in the form of blatant evil, but disguised as something good, something that promises salvation or enlightenment, but leads only to destruction. We must be vigilant, discerning, and prepared to resist the allure of false promises. The clues are there in ancient texts, if only we are willing to seek them out. The spiritual warfare we face today is not new, it has been happening since the beginning of time. But now, the stakes are higher than ever. We are no longer just fighting against external forces, we are fighting within ourselves. The question is, will we choose to follow the path of light, as illuminated by the truth of these ancient texts, or will we succumb to the lies and deceit that have been thrust upon us? The ultimate battle for the soul of humanity is upon us. The question is, will we awaken in time? The answer lies within us all, as we face the battle daily. The battle between light and darkness is not just a distant tale. It is a war fought within the hearts and minds of every individual. From the moment of birth, each person faces a choice, to align with the light of truth, or to be swayed by the allure of darkness. This war is not fought on the physical battlefield but in the depths of one's soul. It is a conflict between eternal truth and the transient lies that tempt us every day. The stakes are high, heaven or hell, eternal peace or endless torment. In the midst of this war, the question arises, are you willing to stand for the light, even if it means enduring pain, suffering, and hardship? This isn't a decision made lightly. History is filled with stories of people who have faced immense trials, yet chose to stand firm in their faith. These individuals, though tested to the core, emerged victorious, their courage lighting the way for future generations. Take, for instance, the story of Job. In the Bible, Job is a man who had everything, wealth, family, and health. Yet, he was struck down by a series of devastating losses, losing his wealth, his children, and his health. Despite his suffering, Job refused to curse God. His faith in the truth never wavered, and in the end, he was restored to even greater glory than before. Job's story is a testament to the power of standing firm in the light, even when the world seems to collapse around you. Similarly, countless martyrs throughout history have chosen to stand for their faith, even at the cost of their lives. From early Christian martyrs in Rome to modern-day heroes who have stood against oppressive regimes, these individuals have shown that the light of truth is worth any price. They did not choose comfort or compromise but rather the difficult path of righteousness. Their stories resonate through the ages, inspiring others to choose the light, no matter the cost. But what does it truly mean to stand firm in the light? It means refusing to be swayed by the temptations of the world. It means choosing what is right, even when it is difficult, and upholding truth even when lies seem more convenient. Standing for the light requires an unwavering commitment to justice, love, and compassion. It is about living with integrity, even when no one is watching, and being a beacon of hope in a world that is often dark and broken. The path to heaven is not an easy one. It requires sacrifice, discipline, and a willingness to endure hardship. But those who remain steadfast in their faith are promised an eternal reward. The victory in this battle is not measured by temporary success or worldly accolades, but by the peace that comes from knowing that, in the end, the light will prevail. In every moment, we are faced with choices. Do we take the easy road, the one that promises immediate gratification but leads to destruction? Or do we choose the narrow path, the one that demands sacrifice but leads to everlasting life? The truth is that only those who choose the light, who stand firm in their faith, will inherit the kingdom of heaven. This eternal victory is not just a distant hope, it is a promise for all who endure. The Bible teaches that those who remain faithful will receive a crown of glory, a reward that cannot be stolen or destroyed. This crown represents the triumph of the soul over the darkness, the ultimate victory of truth over lies. As we face our daily challenges, it is important to remember that the battle is not ours to fight alone. We are not left to struggle in isolation. The light of truth is always there, guiding us, empowering us to stand firm. The stories of those who have gone before us are reminders that we too can win this battle. They are the shining examples of what is possible when we trust in the power of the light. In a world that constantly challenges our beliefs, it is easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. But the truth remains, this war is real, and the choice is ours. Will we stand with the light, or will we fall into the shadows? The opportunity to choose remains, and each decision we make brings us closer to the eternal victory that awaits. The battle in heaven is not some distant story from the past, it is happening right now, in the world around you, even if you can't see it. We are all in the midst of a spiritual war, a war that cannot be fought with weapons, but with hearts and minds. And the only way out of the darkness is through truth. When you choose to walk in the light, the reward is beyond anything you can imagine, an eternal paradise, free from suffering and death. So, what will you do with this truth? Will you continue to live in the darkness of deception, or will you embrace the light and fight for your soul? Leave a comment below, share your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe to Crosslight Healing Hope. Let's continue this conversation, and together, we will shine a light on the darkness that controls our world. Remember, this is just one chapter in a much larger story. Are you walking in the light?